10:13. We'll go off record. We're back on the record. It's 10:15.
So you actually spoke to her that night around 12 o'clock?
Or so, yeah. 12 until maybe about 2 or so, yeah.
Have you ever discovered later where she was that night?
She was downtown. She was like on the other side of downtown though, because I just stayed off of, was it Church Street that all those are off of? I stayed on Church, and she was on Orange, like over probably by where like Wall Street and where those other areas
Across
are.
the street from me, right here.
Exactly.
So the night that she was telling you that she was in Jacksonville, you've learned subsequently that she was actually downtown.
Yeah, she eventually ended up admitting to me that she was downtown. So
when did she admit that to you?
August or so, when she was out.
That night, the day you had that conversation without the press and.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were, every day, we would talk, but yeah, it would have been in August. I don't think it was prior to that during any. It wasn't relevant to finding Caylee is where she was that night. It never really came up.
After that night. Yeah. That night when you had the conversation with Casey, she said to you, "I'm in Jacksonville." Mm-hmm. Did you say, "What are you doing in Jacksonville"?
I didn't use those words.
Tell me everything you talked about with her that night.
It was more just, again, saying, Mom says that you guys haven't been home. Where are you? She wasn't willing to take my call for a while. I was trying to. Mallory ended up showing up later on in the evening too.
Who's Mallory?
My girlfriend.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine. So I had her text my sister around midnight because I was getting very impatient. I'd been there for a couple hours at that point, and texted her to find out if hey, I'm downtown with a friend. What are you up to? And Casey was obviously wise to that. She'd already been tipped off that I was trying to find her. So that kind of started my sister texting back. I know you're with Lee. Whatever. So that's when I started trying to call her. And when her and I talked, it took probably a huge amount of voicemail, attempts for me until she finally even called me back or picked up by accident or whatever. And it was always to leave me alone. I'm in Jacksonville. I'll be home tomorrow. What I could imagine she was telling the same thing that she had been telling my mom. At least that's what it, after my mom gave me a quick briefing, that.
Did you tell her that night, "I know you're not in Jacksonville"?
Yeah, oh yeah, point blank. I said, "You're not in Jacksonville." I told her I found it on Facebook. You were going to be at Dragon Room, and I laid it all out for her and said, "I'm not an idiot." Right. But she kept it up and saying, "Nope, this is where I'm at." So.
Did you ask her that night why she left home and why she went to Jacksonville?
No, I don't think I ever asked her why. No, I can't recall that.
Did you ever ask her that night why she wasn't talking to your mom?
No.
That night when you were talking to her from the Dragon Room, did you ask her, "Where's Caylee"? Yes,
I did do that. I knew that's where you were going to go. Casey, because I asked her, I said, "Well, if you're out, she said she's in Jacksonville. She was out in Jacksonville because I could hear noise in the background. I said, "I know you're out somewhere. Where are you?" And she said she's at this bar club or something in Jacksonville. And I said, "Well, then then where's Caylee?" She's like, "Oh, well, someone's watching her up here." Okay, well, that's what I was saying. She didn't say who. I didn't even ask her at that point.
Did you ask her, "Is Caylee all right"?
I don't think I ever asked her that, no.
That night, were you worried about Caylee's safety?
No, I was more just extremely frustrated that my sister was. I felt like my mother and my sister were putting them in between them. That they were fighting about something, or
Your mom and your sister were fighting about
they're
something.
obviously not agreeing about something. You know, if I would deduce, if my sister hadn't been home, that's my mindset. So,
Did your when you were talking to your mom, did she ever tell you why Casey left the house?
no, even to this day, my mother has no knowledge of why Casey would have been prompted to go, if she was prompted to go, or what. That's still a mystery.
So to this day, your mother's never told you, here's why I think she left the house.
No, I don't think my mom knows. At least that she's relayed to me anyway.
Now, when you finally got to meet with Casey later, did she ever tell you why she left the house
No.
and went to Jacksonville?
I don't think she was ever in Jacksonville.
Did you ever ask her, when you finally had that private conversation in August, did you say to her, why did you leave?
Well,
Because it seems like that would be my first question to my sister. Why did you leave? What happened?
well, and see, that's not. She didn't leave. She says
I mean, the house. Left the house.
Well, she left the house on the morning of the 16th, and Caylee was taken from her that day. She comes back to get Caylee that night, and she's not there. And then from that point on, she doesn't go home. She never left the house on purpose. You know what I mean? Like that wouldn't have been my line of questioning, because that's not what was going on.
When you questioned her later, in that August, did you say the last time she told you the last time I saw Caylee was June 15th?
June 16th.
16th.
Yes.
Did you ask her, what did you do the whole 30 days?
That had been well documented at this point, that she claimed that she had been out searching, that she had been, trying to do whatever she could to track her down by all means, by following what she was told, by not going to the authorities, and just to follow along or whatever.
And didn't she tell you that she'd actually been having cell phone conversations with Zenaida?
She said that she had attempted multiple times. She did say that she got most of the communication that she got was through like the internet, like a MySpace.
But
or
didn't
something.
she actually tell you that I think the conversation's been recorded, that Zenaida had called her from a 321 area code number?